This is a real example. There is a school that's attached to the Buffalo Science Museum. That school that's attached to the Buffalo Science Museum has doors that can go from the Science Museum into the school. Those doors are not locked. Individuals can get into them, right? Stranger danger, right? And that happened. So a stranger went into the school. It's a grade school. It's very low.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel.
City boy, city boy.
All right, I felt like this was an important one to discuss on the channel. It was made aware to me yesterday. So yesterday was Sunday. I don't know, what is it? May 4th. And it's this morning, Monday, May 5th, when I'm doing my recordings. And regardless of if I'm a little late to it, something like this is important to kind of blow the horn and start, the ripple effect and people getting involved and stuff like that. Now, I didn't realize, so I'm familiar with the fat electrician, okay? Nick, again, I don't know him that well. Super cool dude. I love his videos. I do reactions to his videos. He sent me some gear. Cool. Like, I rock with him. He's dope. However, I'm getting put on by you guys to the Unsubscribed podcast, which I've been noticing they have a lot of views that I align with, which is actually kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times I don't fit in with the folks sometimes in the sense of, like, the way I think and make moves. It's just like because the cultures are just sometimes different, but that's just the way it is. But I've seen some of their thumbnails and a bunch of different stuff. And it's probably also me growing up in the military. Like, I wasn't in the military, but my dad was in the military for 21 years. So, like, I live in a military town. So it's just like, it's interesting how sometimes I can align with brothers like this a little more easily, but that's not important. This is about kids in the Buffalo school system, and it seems like the Buffalo school system has fallen. Okay, so I think his name is Rich. I'm sorry. I'm just getting to know these guys. Like, I haven't even watched a full podcast. I'm here because of the fat electrician, but I think he goes by Angry Cops, and I believe he's some type of detective or police officer for Buffalo. And he might specialize in, like, the kids unit, like taking care of kids or something. But regardless, some of that might be a little, somewhat incorrect. But what is correct is that he's involved in a few cases that have kind of gone awry. And long story short, the Buffalo school system at some capacity is trying to cover up violent things that are happening within the school system, kid on kid, blah, blah, blah. He's going to share a story. I'm going to let him play the story. But there's a couple stories in here that kind of shook me to my core. Also, like, the way he's speaking, I'm not sure how the demographic of Buffalo or these schools are going to, if it's like very specific demographics and stuff like that. And that was kind of making me think maybe this is one of the reasons some of the stuff is getting covered up because of a lot of the woke culture in America right now, but I don't know. So I wanted to share his story, okay? And if you have any help or any information in the Buffalo area and can help out, that would be awesome. You can go to the Unsubscribed podcast, or I think the Fat Electrician. They're posting. They have a specific email, and they're really grassroots trying to root out some evil in this school system. And when you listen to the whole thing, what is going to come to light is this is happening in school systems all over the country at some capacity, and I think this might be the first light shined. And this is one of the reasons we homeschool, because I'm not willing to put my kids in these school systems, especially after some of the stuff I saw in the school systems growing up. So let's get into this. Like, share, comment, subscribe, but more importantly, pay attention to the story. He's going to kind of go in here. And this is just one of the stories, and we'll go in, we'll rock. Again, Unsubscribed podcast, go check that out. He goes by Angry Cops, I believe, on YouTube. I haven't seen any of his content yet. This was just compelling, where I was just like, if I can even play a little part of helping or just getting the word out, because eventually it will come down dude, I live in Colorado. It's so woke and the schools are so bad out here. Anyways, I'll talk about that later because this is more important, and let's just go. Here we go.
This is a real example. There is a school that's attached to the Buffalo Science Museum. That school that's attached to the Buffalo Science Museum has doors that can go from the Science Museum into the school. Those doors are not locked. Individuals can get into them, right? Stranger danger, right? And that happened. So a stranger went into the school. It's a grade school. It's a very low school. And this person grabbed a male and a female child.
It's a very low school.
Low grade school.
So like first through fifth.
Yeah. So kids
That's crazy. That's crazy.
under the age of 10.
Oh, fuck.
So it goes into the school and grabs a young female child and a male child and tries to leave. And I'm gonna parcel this story up in kind of the way that the information came in. At first, the information that came in was that there was one female child that was an attempted abduction. There was no report about the second child. Kind of a big deal. The second child, the boy, had pissed himself. And when his parents came, sorry, I'm getting fucked up. When his parents came to pick him up.
Take your time, brother.
Yeah, sorry. Give me a second.
You good?
You're all right, man.
When his parents came to pick him up, the school did not disclose to the parent that the kid was a part of an attempted abduction. So when parents asked him, why did my kid piss his pants at school? The teachers and the people in charge did not tell them that there was an attempted abduction. The school then deleted the video of the attempted abduction.
The fuck?
In the district attorney's office, excuse me. And the district attorney's office only got it because somebody within the school had the wherewithal to record it and then give it to them. The district attorney's office has sent subpoenas, so like court order documents from judges that are signed, to the school's legal representatives. And those representatives have intentionally not responded to them. Now, here's the weird thing, which is like this is the biggest issue right here. Is that specific one is the one that sent me over the edge. Obviously, I'm emotional from it. So, the biggest issue with this entire story, well, one of the issues with this entire story, is that when subpoenaed, these legal representatives for the Buffalo School Department are ignoring the subpoenas and not just not responding to them, but being obstructionists and actually giving information to school administrators and school personnel to not talk to the police or assist the police in any way. In fact, to obstruct us, like intentionally, do not do these things. Here's how you prevent the police from doing their job. So, and here's where like this crux is coming in, why it's kind of a whistleblower thing, is there are people that are trying to get this information from the schools, and the main obstructionist are these lawyers who, once again, I said, are ignoring subpoenas and court orders. And the only way that you can overcome that is if somebody from the court system, judge, attorney general's office in New York State, the attorney general of the United States, comes down and says, why are you not responding to these court orders? You're ordered to respond to them and you're not. And in this specific case, like destruction of evidence, which is huge. And then not telling one of the, the kid's parents.
No, if so.
So that's one of the stories here that is crazy. But I want to dive into this because a lot has happened since this released. I think I'm like almost a week and a half late to this specific podcast. Now, it's very important to get the details. So go over to the Unsubscribe podcast. Actually, let me subscribe. And they're going to be posting stuff. There's going to be videos. In their most recent video that they dropped yesterday, there's an email. And Nick, the fat electrician, is actually going ham on doing his research on the Buffalo school system. And he's finding out that, they've been having problems since, I believe, the 70s. But what I want to say is after this released and made the waves, instead of people concerned about the children that are in these stories and being like, hey, who are these children? Who are these parents? Let's figure this out. The first thing they did was attack his character, the man who just spoke, Angry Cops. And, one of the things I saw was they're saying, oh, he has this record with the police, da, 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 da. And so I looked into it somewhat. And what I saw was, I believe something to this context. He made an arrest, like a drug dealer, just like a piece of blah, blah. And I guess he caught him. He called him Fat Boy. Which I was like, hey, man, it's fair game. But, they're basically trying to break down his character and a bunch of things instead of address the problem at hand. And I think it's really valiant for him to stand up and be somewhat of a whistleblower and even potentially put his career in jeopardy, because he, like you saw him kind of tear up here. I saw him tear up during this podcast. It's real, it's authentic. And I know, because like when I do my music reactions and we're discussing a tough topic, whether it's kids or losing, Mom Dukes or stuff like that. And as a stoic man, you're trying to hold it in, but you're also like, you're trying to find that balance. Cause, I get it, right? He's dealing with kids on the day-to-day basis, and he's seeing this on the day-to-day basis, and it's ripping him up from the inside. So anyways, long story short, the key to this video right now, before it gets too long, because I'm about to go in myself, is that you go over, check some of their podcasts out. If you're in the Buffalo area or have any information about this, like real information, like, yo, I saw this firsthand, or my friend saw this firsthand. Any other hearsay or rumors is going to be a waste of time, but they're in the thick of it right now. And I just wanted to show my support as, someone who does commentary on the YouTubes, to get on over there. And if at some point, even supporting, them by being a viewer, I think is powerful, because they have a really big audience that I wasn't even aware of. And they've kind of all assembled to, get it popping. So that was just one of the stories. Imagine you having a son, because the daughter, but imagine having a son. He comes home with his pants wet, and you're like, why did he wet his pants? And you find out because he almost got abducted from his school. Just think about that shortly. I have daughters. I can't address what would happen or how I feel about that, because it would get very emotional right now in many different levels, from emotionally, from being scared inside to also being super angry at another level. So we're just going to leave it there. And these are some of the reasons I homeschool my kids. Well, I only have a 1-year-old, but I do have a 6-year-old, and we're homeschooling our 6-year-old to dodge a lot of this type of nonsense that's going on. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story. Don from my podcast, the 40-year-old FUQ Boys, a couple years back, his son was 13 years old. He's in the Denver school system. He shows up to school this day, and they're doing the drag queen story hour. And he was like, hey, I need to leave. I do not want to see this. This is uncomfortable. I feel really uncomfortable being here. The school system would not let him leave. They made him sit through drag queen story hour. And the reason they said that is because a month ago, they let all the kids know they're going to do a drag queen story hour. And to opt out, you have to sign a piece of paper. And since he didn't sign that, he couldn't opt out while he was uncomfortable there. And I thought that was crazy, because then I talked to my buddy Don, and he's like, he's a kid. He wasn't paying attention in class when they were doing this paperwork and doing all that. So Don had to go to the schools, talk to them. Then we tell the story online. Don gets shamed for having his kid in the Denver school system. People not really knowing Don's situation. I'm not going to put it out there, but it's a little more complex when you start dealing with the baby's mother and stuff like that. So people are shaming Don when Don's the only one going to the school system to try to fight these things. In the Denver school system, you will see, like at the time, no American flags in the school, but you will see BLM flags, and you will see rainbow flags and stuff like that. So there's a lot of concerns in the school systems in general. Now, going to this, he has another story in here, but because we're already close to the 15-minute mark, I'm just going to kind of paraphrase. You go watch this. It's up. It's Your Kids Are in Danger is the title. SVU detective exposes Buffalo school system. You can watch this in its entirety. It's only 37 minutes. But he talks about another scenario where basically a female child comes to school, and she has, bruises and stuff on her. And long story short, she tells her counselor or a teacher that, hey, my dad's hitting me, right? And the counselor's just like, hey, whatever, just, again, I'm paraphrasing. Go watch it for the real deal. I'm just trying to get through it quickly. Basically, the counselor lets it slide. Then the next time the child comes in and has video footage of it happening on the phone. And the counselor lets that slide. It wasn't until the third time, and I believe another teacher stepped in and was like, yo, what the hell's going on? And then it gets reported. So with these type of things going on, and he had mentioned, this is what's really cool about these guys. They didn't mention race, okay? They didn't mention race in here. And I thought that was cool because they're being neutral and balanced. However, what I'm going to say is he did say the dude was a gang member. And when I've been in the streets, typically, I've seen, gang members of all colors. But if I'm being real, like in my life, the majority of gang activity I had to deal with was within my own community and the Latin community. So that made me think, is some of this stuff happening in the school system because it's happening within certain demographics more and they're trying to cover things up? I hate to say that, especially about my own. But when you start seeing the statistics of violent crime and stuff like that, you have to take accountability. And if I want to change, and when I say my own, I treat everyone as my own. Like I'm American over anything, but I'm not going to sit here in front like I'm not in black culture. I haven't been a part of black culture, blah, blah, blah. So I was just wondering if that's something they're not touching on because, it's just not the right time or what. And then I could be totally off. It could just be totally, I'm not trying to lean into that. But when he said gang member, that's when my spider sense came up. That's the story of this female child who was being beaten by her father. And I was just like, interesting. And when we're in this age of woke, where it's like essentially when you look at the statistics of people in jail, they're looking at it like, yo, there's too many black people in jail. And then it's like, okay, we're going to create systems to keep them out of jail. But that's not how you address a root problem. Me as a black man is like, yo, I got to lead by example and go into my community. And we got to etch out the way we live and the way we do things. The root cause is our actions typically. And obvious, you want to get corruption out of police forces, corruption out of the judge system, corruption out of all of these places. But if the root cause is our actions, we want to take accountability there too. And I just mentioned that because that balance convo is there is corruption in some police departments. Not every cop is like him who's a good cop, and really sincerely want to protect the children. There's a lot of different things going on. So it becomes a nuanced, complex conversation. But I think the simplicity of just doing the right thing, which he is doing, and me speaking about some of the nuance there as well, there could be because he said, oh, maybe they're trying to cover it up for school funding. He mentions a lot of these different things in here, blah, blah, blah. But one of the things, the moment he said gang member, I was like, oh, are they trying to cover this up because it's a black and white thing or because it's a racial component, because I have been noticing, because I live in Colorado, that certain things, that's just the way it is right now. It's just the way it is. And I'm not proud of it. And I just think there's different ways to address these root problems to see real change. And I thought I'd be a voice of trying to, spread something that I think could help be a ripple effect for other schools and other communities. So please tap in with their podcast, Rock with the Fat Electrician. Let me know if this video brought you any value. And yeah, just trying to, help out a little bit. But I'll holla at y'all, man, on the next one.
City boy, city boy.